It's been kind of a busy year for me, so unfortunately, this is going to be my Halloween video for the year. If you're wondering why the ghost back here is not lit up, it's because it doesn't work. I've tried everything, it's broken. The torture just never ends, does it? It's okay though, because today I'm going to be taking a look at something that everybody has been telling me about. Straight out of nowhere, Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. Together at last. This robe is hot. Fuck, it pulled something. Oh no. Oh, it hurts. So after the Scooby Gang solves a mystery, Scooby kinda goes crazy. He hears a weird noise, and then he runs off, and then they have to chase after him. My favorite part, though, is that they just abandon the guy that they captured, who gets away, and we do see him a couple of times throughout the movie, but I just find that kind of hilarious. They just abandoned a criminal they caught. So they end up in the middle of nowhere, and they meet Courage, Muriel, and Eustace, and then a bunch of giant, gross bugs start attacking and coming out of the ground, and the Scooby Gang have to solve the mystery of where those bugs were coming from. The voice cast for the Scooby Gang is the same as it's been for a while now. You got Matthew Lillard as Shaggy, you got Kate McCucci as Velma, Grey Griffin Delisle, or Grey Delisle Griffin, or wherever she's calling herself this week, as Daphne, and of course Frank Welker as the voice of Fred and Scooby-Doo. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but this casting for Scooby-Doo has been great. Like, everyone's done a fantastic job. The voice work is spot on. And they've been doing it a long time, and I gotta say, it's gonna be kind of sad when one of them is inevitably replaced, or all of them are inevitably replaced. I mean, it's probably not gonna happen anytime soon, but it's kind of a testament to how good this casting is. Like, they're on par with the original cast as far as I'm concerned. In fact, Welker was part of the original cast, so there you go. Jeff Bergman is the voice of Eustace because his previous voice actors unfortunately passed away some time ago, but I think he does a pretty good job as the character, and I believe he did voice Eustace a few times in like Cartoon Network promos and stuff. Marty Grabstein reprises his role as Courage, and he does a fantastic job as he did in the TV show. And Thea White returns as Muriel, and for those of you who don't know, Thea White unfortunately passed away this past July. And it was very unfortunate because she was a very good voice actress, even though I don't think she did a whole lot in terms of voice acting. But it was really nice to hear her portray the character one last time. So, as you probably noticed, and a lot of people were pointing this out when the trailer first came out, the designs kind of clash a little bit. The Scooby Gang look like their normal selves, like they have been in the past bunch of movies that they've been in. And the Courage the Cowardly Dog characters look like how they did in the TV show. The very exaggerated and stylized designs. And admittedly, it was very distracting for a little while, but as the movie went on, I kind of got used to it, so I guess it's not that huge of a deal. This movie was also incredibly slow-paced, and that seems kind of normal for a Scooby-Doo movie, but overall, this was like a long episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, and the Courage episodes were usually much faster paced, and there was a lot of wacky things that happened in it that, sped things up, and it just felt kind of weird seeing the Courage characters move so slowly. Though my biggest concern with this movie was, were they actually going to explain nowhere? Because you see, in a lot of the previous Scooby-Doo movies, especially ones based on stuff where there was actual paranormal stuff going on. There was real ghosts and zombies. Like, they did the movie that was the continuation of 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, which had real ghosts in it, and the sequel to Zombie Island, which had real zombies in it. In each one of those movies, they put in this really rushed and half-assed explanation about how things happened. Like, none of it was actually real, and there was some sort of rational explanation for everything that happened. And it did make me kind of worried, because first of all, it didn't work in those movies, and it felt really, really bad. But the thing is, in Courage the Cowardly Dog, all the weird paranormal stuff was real. It was all well established throughout the entire series that just there was always ghosts or aliens or some kind of weird monster going on in nowhere. And I was worried that Velma was going to be explaining all these things as if they weren't actually real. And they kind of gave an explanation, sort of, a little bit, but not really. But I think that will lead us into spoilers. So if you don't want this movie spoiled for you, skip ahead to this time code. So while they're at the farmhouse, they end up getting invited to the house of the mayor of Nowhere, who was well aware of the things that were going on. And they want to figure out, why these insects are going crazy and why all this weird stuff is happening. And there's this really cool moment at the mayor's house where they have a museum of Nowhere, and it's just full of references from the TV show. And there's just pictures and artifacts and all kinds of things. You can see the slab is there. I guess they never returned it. And jumping ahead a little bit, it does turn out that this whole thing was orchestrated by Katz and LeQuack, who were villains of Courage the Cowardly Dog. And the whole story here was that there was a meteor that struck the Earth right where Nowhere is, and it's directly underneath the farmhouse. And it radiates power or something, and that's what's causing all the weird stuff to happen in Nowhere. And that's what was causing the insects to go crazy, and they were also going to use it to try and trick people to bring them money. And there was this scene where a whole bunch of people were bringing money to the farmhouse, and they were giving it to Eustace, who was just, totally just taking it without thinking about it. He's like, oh, thank you. And eventually it piled up in the living room. And then Eustace had like a rap scene about how much money he has, and that felt kind of weird and cringy, and I kind of didn't like that very much. There was also another very weird scene where the computer that Courage uses, the snarky, smart-ass computer that he uses, who was not very snarky and smart-ass in this movie, by the way, but he was hitting on Velma's tablet like a couple times, which was very strange and weird, and it not only was it just weird, it kind of like bogged down the movie a little bit, like everything just paused just so we can have this weird scene. I felt like it was very uncomfortable, and it was also kind of unnecessary. So their plans get thwarted, and then the two army guys that show up in Courage the Cowardly Dog every once in a while show up to arrest them, and then the whole thing ends in a dance number because the meteor can manipulate people, so Courage has it make everyone dance, and the whole thing ends in a big dance party. What is this, a DreamWorks movie? There was one really funny scene where they were trying to pull the mask off of Katz. They kept pulling at his head, thinking that it was going to be a rubber mask or something. And they're like, it's not coming off, it's not coming off. And I thought that was kind of funny. You don't have to explain everything to us. I mean, I think I've gone on rants about this in my previous reviews of Scooby-Doo movies, but it's okay to just let things be weird. And that's just fine. That's one of the things people love about Courage the Cowardly Dog. But I will say, at the very least, they kept things weird. And they didn't just explain it as some sort of hallucination or whatever. So, I guess that's a good thing. So, overall, I didn't hate this movie. I thought it was perfectly fine. It had a lot of funny, interesting moments in it. And the references to Courage were great. I wasn't really into it as much as I wanted to be, I guess. I think one of the problems is I'm mostly a Scooby-Doo fan before I'm a Courage the Cowardly Dog fan. And I like Courage the Cowardly Dog. I think it's, funny and witty and creative. But I didn't really grow up with it like a lot of people have. So I don't have that much of an attachment to it. So it was basically just a long episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog with the Scooby Gang. And I think I just didn't connect with it as much as I wanted to, and as much as a lot of other people probably will. But I will say that people who really do like Courage the Cowardly Dog will probably enjoy this movie because of mostly the references and the return of a lot of the characters they probably like. But unfortunately, if you're a Scooby-Doo fan only, you're probably not going to get a whole lot out of this. Also, I think overall, despite these two series having a lot of similarities, they're just not really that compatible with each other, ironically. And there were certain times where things just didn't mesh as well as they probably should have. But again, I didn't hate this movie, and let's be honest, weirder crossovers have happened. I still can't believe this exists. But that's all I got for Straight Outta Nowhere, Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of it. My name is Rob, and happy Halloween. Ooga booga booga!